Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Munshi Nasir Ibn Afzal. I'm an associate professor in one of my university in Bangladesh and also adjunct faculty at HBMSU Dubai. And we are starting a new contemporary series, a podcast series. And today we have a very special guest. Also, it is not we should not say Dr. Shamim as a guest. He's the one who is going to participate and discuss about the issues regarding our podcast series. So, Dr. Shamim Siddiqui, let me introduce first, and before I welcome him, Dr. Shamim Siddiqui is a vastly experienced professor in Islamic economics and contemporary international trade and finance, and he got his PhD from Temple University in USA. At the same time, he served as a faculty in different universities and places, numerous places, government and non-government positions, both in domestic and internationally, especially in Pakistan, in Brunei, and in Dubai, in Canada, and different parts of the world as well. So today we have a very fascinating starting depending on our topic of Islamic economics and in general more economics. So welcome Prof. Dr. Shamim Siddiqui to our podcast series. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam, Nasir. Thank you so much for your kind introduction. Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you.
Okay, so let us start our first topic, which we are going to talk about this explaining Islamic economics. And this idea is to set the necessary background before we are going to discuss specific issues in Islamic economics and finance. Now, contemporary people are talking about political economy for different Muslim countries and the problem they are facing both in general economics structure and in Islamic economics structure. So our goal is to not restrict our scope of discussion to only economics or Islamic economics. Our discussion for today will shed some light on our thinking on the context of modern Islamic country in the contemporary community of nations. So the starting question that I'm going to talk today to Dr. Shamim Siddiqui, that why do we need Islamic economics? And if I say more specifically, what is wrong with the current market economy, which has enabled many countries to prosper and improve their material well-being? Over to you, Dr. Shamim Siddiqui.
Thank you, Nasir. Again, I would like to start by saying that it's not necessarily about what is wrong with the current market economy, which has indeed enabled many countries to prosper and improve their material well-being. Instead, it's about addressing some key issues and ensuring that economic systems are more in harmony with Islamic teachings and societal well-being. The concept of Islamic economics arises from a fundamental desire to align economic activities with Islamic principles, values, and ethics. I will give you, a few points on this to address this issue.
Right.
Number one is when we talk about Islamics, basically we are trying to come up with an ethical and moral framework.
Right.
The Islamic economics is rooted in the ethical and moral framework provided by Islamic principles, Islamic teachings.
Right.
And the source of Islamic teachings is the Holy Quran, and the sayings of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and also what he practiced in during his life. So, while when we look at the current economic system, as we now see, the market economy or the free market economy, or we also call it a capitalist economy.
Correct.
And now this is the dominant ideology or the dominant economic system in the world.
Right.
Um, and a few decades ago, it was challenged by the socialist system of
Right.
the then USSR or Soviet Union and the Chinese communist
Communism.
system.
Yes.
But we have seen the collapse of the USSR or the communist economies, and there are only few economies left, like North Korea and Cuba, which are still practicing that system. But the China and Soviet, Russia now are by and large, they are following the same free market, or they are coming towards the more and more towards the free market economic
Correct.
system.
Correct.
There is no doubt that this free market economic system, which started actually from the time of Adam Smith, has achieved a lot of things, and when we compare with the communist system, we can see that this is it has overthrown the communist system.
Yes.
Now, so the idea would naturally people will ask why you need another system. What is wrong with this? What are the problems with? As you can see, Nasir, although there we see a lot of improvements in the lives of the people who have followed this free market economy,
Yes.
we can still see that there are problems in in different countries, and the problems are primarily coming because of some of the fundamental flaws in the free market economic system.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
and these are they are related to ethics and morality. What is wrong, what is right, and this right and wrong, who decides what is right and wrong. This is you see, this is a very very broad issue.
Broad issue, right?
And if we look at not only the Islamic world, if we look at the world in general,
Right.
uh, people have a different thinking. Some people are religious, some people don't believe in any organized religion, although they are theists, mean they believe in God, but they don't believe in a in a particular religion.
Right, sir.
And there are people who are atheists, though who do not believe in any religion, or they don't believe in God also.
Right, sir.
So where this morality will come, what is wrong, what is right, where this morality will come from?
Yes.
One idea is that people should think about, there is a general sense that this is wrong or this is right. Nobody will say that lying all the time is something good.
Yes, sir.
Nobody will say that murdering people is something good. They all say this is wrong. Okay,
Yes, of
but
course.
why it is wrong? So what are the source of any ethics or morality? This is the issue.
Right.
So when we talk about Islamic economics, basically we are talking about introducing the Islamic moral system or the Islamic ethical system into the economy, or in other section of our, in other sphere of our life, our political system, our educational system, our social system. So this whole issue of Islamic economics is basically is related to the Islamic Islamic ethics or Islamic morality. So this is what we are concerned about.
Right, sir.
Now, command which is given by Islamic teaching, one of them is the to avoidance of riba, which can be, we can say the interest or usury, how to, so this should be avoided. So what is, whether interest is riba or not, and whether interest should be avoided, this is a very very big issue
Right.
and because there is a lot of emphasis on this issue, so this is one particular thing. So we can talk a lot about what is riba, what is interest, how can it be is interest equal to riba? Can we have a system where there is no interest? I mean, this is the big issue that in
Sir, if
Islamic
I if
law.
if I may, sir, if I may
Yeah,
interrupt you in this
yeah,
regard,
yeah.
I just want to
Mm,
know that, for example, as a layman, if
mhm.
we want to know what is the basic difference between the interest rate and the riba that we are talking about. For example, back in days in Islamic early stages, what the riba used to be, and currently what the practice should be, or it has to be the same, or it is evolving from the course of time. So is it a dynamic concept or is it a static
Yeah,
concept?
y- yeah. There are some, the simple. The usury is very simple, and usually when we look at in from this Islamic perspective, one thing that has been changed, and actually it is a very big topic. I will
Of
just
course, we will talk
passing by.
about
I
it.
will
Yeah.
give you a comment on that.
Yes.
At the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and when this Islamic teaching was, the was coming initially,
Yes, sir.
we must remember that there was no, paper money. There was no
Yes.
paper money. So
Even there
the
was no
money,
bank actually, sir. If I say
there were no
correctly.
bank. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no bank, and there were no paper money. Or yeah, so when paper money started with the banking system, before
Yes.
that there was no. So money was equal to gold. So the inflation was not a big issue at that time. So basically, you give loan to somebody, and then you ask, when the money is being returned, you ask
Yes, sir.
an additional amount of money in terms of gold or in terms of grain or whatever. So it was something real. Okay. So asking to give loan and then asking for more, that was basically usury. Okay, that
Right.
was called usury. That was riba, you can say. Riba means basic something additional. So that is now we have inflation. So if I'm giving somebody a loan, and if I'm asking to compensate for the inflation or something, is it still riba? Uh,
Yes.
that is a big question that we need to answer. So this is how it has changed,
Right.
and we have to look at in there. But the primary thing is that if you are giving some amount of money, or to somebody, and whether you can ask more or not, or whether you can ask for compensation for the inflation, or you can go beyond that. That is the big issue. And when you are giving not loan, but if you are investing money with somebody, then how to share, what should be the mechanism of, can you ask for a fixed return, or you should share into the business. So those are the issue that we will be, maybe in a coming discussion, we will
And
be
and
like.
I'm guessing that since it's the first topic of our podcast series, so
Mhm.
gradually when we go deep into this matter,
Yeah.
hopefully, inshallah, we'll talk about more for our audience regarding the
Yes.
riba and interest rate, all
Yes,
those things.
yes, because there are a lot of confusion and there are a lot of things, and so we are not saying that we will be able to fix this thing for all, but at least we can bring
A general
our own
consensus.
perspective
Yes,
on
sir.
this one. Yes,
Yeah. And
we must admit that we in many cases we don't have a single verdict on what is wrong or what is wrong, or what is even riba. Okay, what is riba or what is not riba? There is a difference of opinion among Muslims as well. Okay,
right, right, sir.
among Islamic scholars.
Right.
So eventually, even eventually, even in a Muslim democratic country, for example, if there is a like Bangladesh, Pakistan, or or Malaysia, or Turkey, eventually it will be decided by the people,
Right.
but the decision will be restricted to the Islamic teachings, the different Islamic opinions. Okay, they're
Yes.
real. So eventually, but the framework will be the Islamic framework.
Right.
Am I clear on this point?
Yes, I understand, sir. Basically, you are saying that the whole thing, the ethics things
Mm.
comes from the moral perspective of the people.
Yeah.
However, however, the shell of the perspective should be from the
mm,
Islamic shell, because
yeah.
underneath that shell you can
Hmm.
you can share your opinion, you can develop
Yes,
your right and
yes,
wrong decision, but there should be a shell where
yes,
you cannot go beyond that shell
yeah, yeah,
to decide whatever you want to do. There is some teachings
yeah,
and
yeah,
philosophical values and restrictions from the point
yeah.
of view of the Islamic
Mhm.
teachings.
Uh, we have also if I see, this is a very interesting point. We can, if you can see here, we have a certain different arrangement as well. If you see like the case of Iran or Afghanistan right now,
Right,
they are a kind of the Islamic scholars, the Islamic scholars have the final say. Okay, there is a
yes,
particular Islamic their regime in Iran and Afghanistan. They are the governments are run by a particular Islamic uh, uh, mm, religious group of scholars. Okay,
right. And also they call it
so
the supreme leaders
yeah, so
of
it
yeah,
is not up to the general public. Okay, it's not
right,
up to the people. Okay,
right,
and although in Iran, for Iran, there is there is a elections and people do, but people decision are again restricted. For example, who can run the parliament or who can become a president? It is being it is not so people can choose anyone. There is a group of scholars who will decide who about the who can run for the prime minister or who cannot run for. So there is a restriction within that restriction, and this restriction is not coming directly from the teaching of Islam. It is coming from the interpretation of a particular group of scholars. Okay, so
uh,
this is another model. Okay,
yes,
and in
yes,
case of Afghanistan, there is no elections, at least for the there's only a couple of years that the Taliban are running this country. So
yes.
far, they have not come up with any scheme of
Democratic
election. In
election,
Iran,
right?
there is an election,
Election, right?
and so there is it's a bit different from Afghanistan. Similarly, if you look at the case of some of the other Muslim countries where there are no democracy, but they have a group of ulama or scholars. They do not run the country, but they advise the government, and those government take the rulings of the Islamic scholars, and they try to implement that in the country. So there are different ways, and there are advantage and disadvantages of having this different kind of arrangement. So when we go in detail later on, we will see how these Islamic principles could be implemented in different countries. And we actually, in one way, it is good it will be good to elaborate and good to see and good to discuss how different kind of political arrangement can be useful or not useful, implementing the Islamic the ethics into Islamic economy and other parts of our section of our society,
Okay,
our affairs of our life.
oh, thank you, Professor. Actually, we will end this session here because we will have a couple of series upcoming, and this is the ongoing podcast series. And Professor Shamim, Dr. Shamim Siddiqui is also my mentor. I did my master's under his supervision and my PhD and other different type of teaching, philosophical. I learned from him a lot of things. So today, what we have discussed that the Islamic economics in general and an introduction of what we are going to offer in the next couple of podcasts. So I urge the audience of this channel that if you want to know some key specific points about Islamic economics, contemporary issues, political economy, and the issues that bothering you, but nobody is answering clearly, you can write to us by commenting the description box and the comment box of this video, and we will write back to you in the next couple of sessions, because we want to hear from you guys. Because if we If we want to hear from you, we can answer your queries very clearly. And Dr. Shamim Siddiq is a vastly experienced professor in this particular field. And I'm pretty sure, inshallah, this can be a very, very useful sessions for everyone who is interested to know the economic system as a whole and Islamic economics as particular in our day-to-day life. So hopefully, inshallah, we'll see you in the next week podcast session. For today, we're going to say goodbye. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Professor Dr. Shamim Siddiqui.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.